Welcome back. Sometime in January, the Minister of Trade and Investment, Olusegun, said the federal government has marked out 13 national strategic export products meant to replace the petroleum products whose prices continue to tumble in the international markets. And the government unveiled plans for diversifying the economy in 3 categories: agro-industrial, that's palm oil, cocoa, cashew, sugar, and rice; mining related, has to do with cement, iron ore, metals, auto parts, cars, aluminium; and oil and gas industrial products that had to do with petroleum, fertilizer, urea, petrochemical, and methanol. Now, you might say big grammar. Now, when you look at all of this, the whole idea is to seek out other sources of income for the country that are alternative to oil. Are we on track? Do we have what it takes? Have those plans that have been unveiled begun to run? Well, we're hoping we can get answers tonight and see how best you can tailor them in. We have 2 gentlemen in the studio: Professor Segun Aderibigbe, a professor of mechanical engineering, University of Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And Odilim Nwegbara. I hope I got that well. He's a financial analyst. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let me begin with you, financial analyst. The Minister of Finance was reported to have urged the President-elect to muster political consensus on how to build fiscal buffer zones for the economy in the area of excess crude account. What's your opinion on the state of the Nigerian economy?
First and foremost, thank you for inviting me. I think I have been one of those people who fought the way the economy has been run from 2011 to date. My goal was for us to look at those ways to grow the economy and also generate enough revenue for the government to be able to finance critical infrastructure, which, if done, would also reduce the cost of doing business in Nigeria and then diversify the economy. But these things were not done. Maybe at the tail end of this administration, there was a fire brigade approach. But you cannot build a house without a foundation. The foundation that was needed was the critical infrastructure that could make it possible for you to diversify the economy. And by diversifying the economy, you'll be able to diversify the revenue stream of the government. Now, when you are running what I call vertical economic growth, it means you are having a growth with multiplier effect without trickle-down effect. But when you run an economy based on horizontal economic growth, it means that both multiplier and the trickle-down effect are all working together to grow the economy, which means small businesses, which means private sector is taken along. But what we have been having has been economic financialization, where the financial sector is growing themselves. Those in the financial sector are growing themselves at the expense of the economy. And of course, that's what we are seeing today. So to put it in a nutshell, there's no way you will talk about fiscal buffer when you don't even have the money in the first place. Let me ask you, this is not economics. If you have to feed your family, send your children to school, buy a car because you're just a young family, will you be saving or will you be borrowing? If you believe in the future of your family. There's nothing wrong with borrowing. It is only neoliberal economics that says developing countries will not borrow. They will not borrow to invest in capital, but they will borrow to grow to finance big government. It has been all known in economics. This is not a rocket science. And when I talk about it, people ask me, but why you say this? Because of the love I have for this country, and because I know the economics very well. It's no longer news that economics, if you want to grow your economy, you have to invest in infrastructure. And how do you invest in infrastructure when you don't have the revenue? When you can't generate revenue through tax or through other means, is to borrow. In 1792, the first American Secretary of Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, appearing before the first Congress of the United States, said we must borrow because if we can't borrow, we can't fix the infrastructure, and if we can't fix the infrastructure, we can't compete with Britain. That was then the only industrial economy. Why is it that when it came to our own turn, we now say, no, don't borrow? Because if you borrow, you run into deficits. In fact, let me tell you, I'm talking authoritatively. Anybody who will challenge this, let the person call two of us to talk about economics. If you do not borrow to fix your infrastructure, you remain underdeveloped. So what I'm saying in essence is that when they talk fiscal buffer, I wonder what it's all about. You do not save when you are supposed to borrow to invest.
Okay, let's bring in Prof. In engineering is about precision, line upon line, precept upon precept. Would you buy that idea of borrowing, or how else can we move our economy forward?
Thank you for the question, and thank you for inviting me. As he said, there's nothing wrong with borrowing. The main issue is, what are you borrowing for?
Yeah.
And to me, the oil and gas has been the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. That we did not manage the resources very well to prepare us for the situation we find ourselves is an issue. And when you look at the implication of that, you have to consider what is important to the growth of the economy. The power sector is very critical, and your iron and steel industry for manufacturing is very critical. So what that means to me is that if you borrow to develop your iron and steel infrastructure, which is possible, then the value added will help you for sustenance. However, we have a present challenge with the power sector. And to me, that is where we should focus on. Apart from trying to diversify the energy mix to include the ocean renewable, which some of us have been looking at for the past 7 years, and we have been alerting the government that, look, at least 4 years ago, we did tell many members of the government that, look, you will soon come to a state where the price of oil is less than half of what it was at that point in time. And we said the most sensible thing is to look at the ocean renewable. And what do I mean? Nigeria is the best location in the world for ocean thermal energy converters. This is a technology that is not experimental. It's now at a level of commercial readiness, and people are adopting it. The beauty of it is that apart from providing electricity for you, for every 100 megawatts of it, you have 100 million liters per day of potable water. So what we are saying is that if you have something like that in any of the coastal states, you can provide potable water for the people living there. Apart from that, you can produce hydrogen, which is the fuel for the future. People have to remember that as from this year, all the major car manufacturers are manufacturing electric cars and hydrogen fuel cars.
Professor, so, have you all made this known to government?
Oh, yes.
Because this thing,
we've made a presentation.
It sounds like, so if they know, why are we not doing it? We have electricity, we have drinking water, both items which are lacking.
Yeah,
as we speak. So why are we not doing it?
I think it's a reflection of the
It sounds like a no-brainer.
Civil service.
Let me
things get passed on before decisions are taken.
Exactly.
And those are issues that the incoming government has to address. But let me try to round up the many benefits of this multi-product technology. Apart from producing hydrogen, and I said Nigeria is the best location in the world for it, we've succeeded in making, through the support of the Minister of Agric, because it's under him that you have the Nigerian Institute of Oceanography and Marine Research. Mm-hmm. You know, we've made Nigeria the 20th nation in the world to be a member of the Ocean Energy Service of the International Energy Agency.
Okay, so we've started the process.
We have started the process, but we have not got the support of the government. These are being driven by private individuals. I'm just telling you what is happening. So apart from that, you can produce ammonia for fertilizers from the ocean. You can produce jet fuel, any or all the petroleum products that you can get can be synthesized. Because once you get hydrogen and carbon, you can synthesize any of the petroleum products. And these have been proven. There are known technologies for that. So beyond oil and gas, as we know it today, What Nigeria should be focusing on is to try to tap into what will help the nation to have income that will support development projects in the future. You have to recognize that our industrial base is very low. And that is where we have to worry about the linkage to the iron and steel industry. It's okay to have foreign exchange, but what are you using it for? Ajaokuta has remained undeveloped. But some of us believe that within 3 years, given the opportunity, Ajaokuta can work. Because your transportation sector, your railway network, the tracks, all the road products from it will be used there. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of capital flight, as we are seeing now. There are a lot of development projects all over the country. But a lot of the steel structures have been imported. So there is no synergy in the planning for the country. I mean, you borrow money, what are you using it for? Then the power sector is critical. You know, we are spending money bringing turbines and things that are dependent on oil and gas. Why can't we go into renewables? For example, I mean, the whole of the northern part of Nigeria, from northwest to northeast, you don't really need oil or gas to produce electricity there. There are proven technologies like CSP, concentrated solar power, that can produce steam and have steam generators. 50 megawatts, 150 megawatts, 500 megawatts. There are new technologies that can utilize PV system for utility scale solar electricity so that the industries can function, not the type we use for household or street light and things like that. Those are small scale application of solar energy. So the incoming government needs to be very innovative in the approach, in their policy issues, in the regulatory issues, to make sure that they jumpstart the economy. And it's not going to be easy.